Okay, to start our woven paper basket, you're going to take your newspaper, your stack that you have in your art kit, and we're going to open it all the way up. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to tear along this line. If you feel like you can't do it with all your papers, if you want to take some of them out and start with a few, what I like to do is I kind of like to fold it in half, and I use my nail to just kind of make that crease a little bit better. I'm going to open it back up to the middle here. You're just going to carefully kind of tear down the middle. Now we have 2 half sheets. Okay, I'm going to stick these over here and do the rest of this. Again, and kind of with my nail, I'm going to score it down, open this up, I'm going to start my tear nice and slowly, nice controlled rip. Okay. The next we're going to do is we're going to fold this now in half. So we're going to make quarter sheets. So I'm going to fold it in half, try to line it up nice, fold. Again, I'm going to use my nail to make a nice crease. Open it up, hold, nice controlled rip. I'm going to do that for my whole stack of newspaper. I'm going to make a crease, open it up, I'm going to rip. Okay. Make a crease, fold it in half, make a crease with my nail. Newspaper is fairly easy to rip, so it shouldn't be too difficult to rip along this crease. Just do it nice and controlled. I'm using my hand to kind of guide the rip as I'm going. This is my last set right here. I'm going to fold it, make a crease. I'm going to rip. Now, the next step is going to be to roll these into tubes. Okay, from the polymer clay jewelry piece that we did, you guys have a skewer. And the skewer can be used to help you roll these pieces. What you're going to do is you're going to go into the corner of your newspaper here, and you're going to kind of roll this corner. You have to kind of roll and tuck it under. So I'm rolling it, and then I'm waiting for it to kind of catch underneath the skewer. Okay, and then I'm going to roll it. You want to kind of roll it like a 45-degree angle. Okay, so I kind of have it about here. It should just kind of roll nice and easily. I can take my skewer out and then just kind of twist it. Once I have it out here, and kind of twist. I'm just going to twist, twist, twist until I have a nice long tube. You want your tube to be kind of as long as possible. So I mean, this is a little longer than, it's about the length of the sheet. And then you're going to take your glue and you're just going to glue this end closed. So I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm just going to glue just a little tabby right here and just kind of roll it. Now I have one stick. I'm going to roll each of these pieces into a tube. Now, if you don't have one of these skewers, that's okay. What you can do is you can just have a little paper towel with water, or little paper towel with some water on it, like a damp paper towel. Just get your finger a little wet, and then you can take this corner and just roll it between your fingers. If your fingers are a little wet, it takes a little bit to get it going, but you should be able to get this to roll. There we go. There we go. So I'm kind of starting a little roll like that, and then I'm just going to kind of continue that roll. You kind of see this type of roll, if you do it without the skewer, it's a little bit tighter. The tube is a little bit sturdier, but you know, same thing. Okay. Want to do it at a 45-degree angle. Then once you kind of get out the end here, just want to kind of help twist it along. You're using your hand to kind of keep it nice and tight as it goes down the paper. But the goal really is to have all of your papers, tubes, kind of the same size. So you see this one's a little shorter. So I might have to redo this one because it's a little too short. So it means I started curling it a little too sharply. So I need to be a little less of an angle. It needs to be at 45 degrees. Okay. That should be a little bit better. So you want to have all your tubes be the same length. So if you're doing it with the skewer, you probably get a nice long. This one's still a little too short, so I might do it one more time, or I just might go to the skewer and just keep using it that way. Whichever method you choose, try to use the same method throughout, just because then all your tubes will be the same length and same thickness. But we're going to do all of these pieces of papers, and we're going to roll them all into tubes. And then that's what we need all that paper rolled into tubes before we get started with the weaving. Okay. So I just showed you how to make the tubes for the basket. If you're really having trouble making tubes, what you can do is you can make strips. So I showed you already how to cut your pieces into quarters. So I was opening the newspaper, ripping it in half, and then folding and then ripping them in half again, so you get these quarter sheets. The other thing that you can do is you can fold this into little strips. You just have to be careful because you want to make sure that it's all of your strips are even. So I'm going to go about 1/3 of the way and fold it up and crease. You really want to make sure that everything's nice and even. So I'm going to go now in half, fold this up. I'm going to fold it again. Try and make sure that everything's nice and even. Okay, fold this again. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this. And again, I'm trying to make sure it's nice and tight. I want these to be as nice and sturdy as possible. Okay, again. again. And then on these last passes, I want to make sure I have glue. So that these pieces stay together. Okay. So make sure these strips stay glued. You really want to make sure if you're doing this method, and this really is just if you are having real difficulty making the tubes. Tubes will be a lot easier to do, but this is another method. The basket will look slightly different, but again, if you're having a real difficulty with making the tubes of paper, you can always make it like this and make little rectangles. So they're a little slightly different, they're a little thicker, but again, I'm going to kind of take this and go into a third. And you want to make sure that these are the same every time, so you really want to make sure you're folding them the same way. 2, 3. So you want to make sure that these are getting to be the same thickness. So this method is a little bit more difficult. I mean, kind of along the way, you can kind of be gluing to make sure that it stays together. Make it a little easier, but it's gonna be a little harder to kind of keep these consistent than with the tubes I'm finding. But you know, again, it's up to you. If you're having a lot of difficulty with making tubes, then this is another method. But again, you really want to make sure that everything is nice and consistent. So you see your tubes are the same thickness, your little folded pieces. So I would really stick to making tubes just because, again, it's easier. I feel like they can stay consistent more evenly than the folding. But again, this option does exist if you really are having a lot of difficulty with making tubes.